Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the homemade foodie, coming back with a wonderful recipe for the spring. Today, I'm going to be making some cilantro lime tacos. Very simple recipe, very easy to make. So, the first thing that we're going to start off with is the marinade. I have a little bit of garlic, some fresh garlic cloves, some lime, orange, and some cilantro. I'm also going to add in a little bit of honey and some spices as well. So we want to go ahead and get everything chopped up so that everything will meld into the marinade very well. We'll get our cilantro chopped up here, and we're going to be utilizing the zest of the limes and the oranges as well as the juice to really punch through that citrus flavor. When you're using citrus juice, when you zest that citrus, all of the oils from that fruit go into whatever you're zesting it into. So it's always a really good idea. Also, zest before juicing obviously will make life a lot easier. So I'm going to go in and zest the orange. We want to be very lightly with our microplane, not to get down to the white pith of the fruit, but just the zest, the colorful zest there. So I'm going to zest both that orange and lime in there, and then I'm going to add in the cilantro, the garlic. The seasonings that I used was kosher salt, fresh cracked pepper, cumin, and chili powder, and just made my own little blend there. But any seasonings that you want to utilize, feel free to spice it up to your liking. So again, now I'm going ahead and squeezing in my fresh orange juice. I'm gonna squeeze in my lime juice and just pull this whole marinade together. So we have some acid from our citrus. We have the garlic flavor. We have the herbaceousness of the cilantro. And then the honey is going to help to caramelize the chicken and give it a nice flavor on the outside crust when we start to sear that in our cast iron skillet. Once I get all of this in the bowl, I'm going to just massage everything into the chicken. And I generally would like this to marinate anywhere from, on the low end, an hour. Marinating it overnight would be paramount, or would be great, shall I say, because all of those flavors get to meld in a lot better. And this is also something you could grill. I'm going to be doing everything inside today, but this would have been wonderful to have been grilled as well. And just however you want to prepare that protein, you can definitely do that either on the stovetop, in the oven, or on the grill would be great. So we'll get that covered up, put that away, and get the rest of everything put together for our recipe. So I'm making a slaw, and a slaw generally consists of some sort of cabbage, carrots. I use radishes in mine. So today for the color, I'm using purple cabbage. I'm going to use a mandolin to shred that. And I'm using my thin blade so that that cabbage can be in the right size pieces so that when we bite into the taco, you don't have huge pieces of cabbage. You know, you want all of that to come together very well. I'm going to shred in some carrots, and then I'm also going to cut in my radishes. All of these are nice and light flavors for this slaw. Pretty traditional ingredients for the slaw as well. And then we're also going to be making the dressing for this slaw. And I like to keep my slaw and my dressing separate until I'm ready to plate it up because it can make it soggy. And I personally don't like for my slaw to be soggy. I like for my slaw to have a lot of crispiness to it. So the ingredients that I used in my slaw dressing are mayonnaise, stone ground mustard, a rice wine vinegar, and honey and some lime juice. Comes together very easy, using about a half a cup of mayonnaise, about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of the stone ground mustard. You could also use Dijon mustard, FYI. That works very well in this. But I like the stone ground mustard because you can see the mustard seeds and it gives it a nice texture. Adding in the rice vinegar. So this dressing is going to be a little sweet. It's going to be creamy and it's going to have the tang from the lime juice. It works incredibly well in this slaw. You can utilize a pre-made dressing if you like, or you can make your slaw dressing to your liking, but I do think that this is a wonderful base. You could add in some fresh parsley for a little bit more color, but this is just kind of my go-to slaw recipe. So I'll get all of that mixed together very well. And again, I'm going to keep mine separate until it is time to plate everything. So the next thing that we're going to do is get started with searing our chicken. So I'm utilizing the cast iron skillet because it retains heat very well and you'll get a nice crust on your protein when you start to sear those. I used a little bit of avocado oil and I just start getting my chicken thighs in the pan so that they can get a nice sear on one side, and then I'll flip them over to the other side. I would say about 4 to 5 minutes aside. For these chicken thighs, they're not large, you know. So we're going to go ahead and get those flipped over to continue to cook on the other side. As you can see, we got some nice caramelization on the outside of that chicken thigh. Okay, after about 4 to 5 minutes aside, we're going to go ahead and take the chicken out of the cast iron skillet so that it can rest. And then after about 10 minutes, I'll get everything chopped up and ready to add into our tacos. So we're just going to get all of that luscious meat out of the pan. And guys, when I say this chicken came out so good, like I said, it seems so simple, but sometimes the simplest ingredients can give you the best flavors. So I utilized my favorite tortillas that I get from H-E-B, which is a mix of flour and corn tortillas. They make them fresh in the bakery. Utilize whatever tortillas you like. If you want to use all flour, you can do that. All corn, you can do that as well. But I do like the chewiness and the bite that this half corn, half flour tortilla gives. And I think that with the slaw and the chicken, it just gives it the best texture. I like to mold my little taco shells on a rolling pin just to give them a little bit of shape so they'll hold up very nicely. Now I'm going to go ahead and add that dressing to our slaw. Just gonna pour over, not all of it, but just enough to lightly dress everything. And then I'll toss that together and get all those flavors mixed in very well. So again, in our slaw, we have red or purple cabbage, some radishes, some carrot, and I did add some cilantro off camera. And then we're just tossing in our homemade dressing as well. Now we're going to go ahead and get the chicken sliced up. It's had time to rest, so all of the juices in the meat can be distributed. And so now everything should be nice and juicy and ready to go. So I'm just going to slice those chicken thighs up, and then we are going to plate our lovely product. And this is enough to serve 2 people, 4 chicken thighs, 2 each. And just layer that into your tortilla however you like. And once we get everything sliced up, we will go ahead and start to create our tacos. I just layered the chicken at the bottom of the tortilla and nestled in the coleslaw on the side. And guys, this really was a delicious meal. The chicken was so juicy, so flavorful from that fresh cilantro, that honey, that chili powder, that cumin, giving it a chance to marinate and bring everything together. Simple dishes, delicious dishes, always here. We will be back
His lock
soon
screen
with
has the
another
name Roy on it.
recipe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful day.